Iodine pentachloride, Cl5. Silicon dioxide, SiO2. Again, silicon is a metalloid, but it is not a metal, so we use the prefixes. Diphosphorus pentoxide, silicon tetraiodide, bromine trifluoride. Again, we don't use mono for the first element. You can see that I'm pretty quick with this because I have these memorized. If you don't have these memorized, you're probably going to spend 5 to 10 seconds looking up every one of these things. What is the symbol for oxygen? Let me get my periodic table. Oxygen, oxygen, oxygen. Oh, there it is. Oh, right? See how long that's going to take if you don't have them memorized. O2F1, PCl3, SF6, sulfur hexafluoride, triphosphorus, non-oxide. Friday's test will be timed too, 45 minutes. So you may not have the time to sit there and look up every single one of these. So just keep that in mind as well. If you know the first 36 elements, just have those first 36 memorized, you're gonna be pretty good. We don't use much of the ones past that, like lead and tin and stuff like that we do. But normally we would have you memorize 50 of those. There's just no way to test you on that. So it's gonna be your own excruciating punishment. Maybe that's what we'll do the 19th when we get back, right? What about the kids at home? NO, nitrogen monoxide. SO3, sulfur trioxide. And some of you might be thinking, well, isn't that sulfite? This is not sulfite. I would be amazed if somebody actually was like looking at that, like there should be sulfite. It's not sulfite because it doesn't have a charge. Sulfite is a polyatomic ion, so it has to have a charge. Otherwise, it is not sulfite. Tetraphosphorus, hexoxide. Remember, we do not put the A if it is a vowel like oxide, so it's hexoxide. Tricarbon, disulfide, sulfur dioxide, sulfur dichloride. You can see we do use a lot of the same ones here. That's because this is the non-metals, right? The not metals. So there's a limited number versus all of the metals that we have. Dibromine monoxide and sulfur tetrabromide. Bada boom, bada bing. Easy enough. Questions there?
Can you go back?
Yep. Got it?
Yeah.
All right, sulfur hexafluoride. Sulfur hexafluoride is quite interesting because it actually is heavier than air. So take a look here. If you guys know Neil Patrick Harris, they are going to breathe in sulfur hexafluoride as if you would do a helium balloon. But remember, it's heavier.
What is the helium tank? Not quite. In fact, this is, well, you know how helium will make your voice go higher and sure we both.
Yeah, my kids are always sucking on a balloon and then they talk to me.
Well, this is kind of helium's evil twin.
Ooh.
So helium is 6 times lighter than air. And so sound passes through it differently, and so it makes the high parts of your voice kind of enhanced. This is 6 times heavier than air, and thus it has the opposite effect. So I'll tell you what we'll do here. I'm going to develop a couple balloons here with this.
Is this going to make us gain weight?
Absolutely not. Really?
Wants to know, by the way, Science Bob.
So I figured what we do is make a little host chat maybe, but a sulfur hexafluoride version of this.
Sulfur hexafluoride.
Yes, yes.
And what is the symbol for that on the chart?
That was, it's SF6, if you
I was just testing you to see if you knew.
All right, so here's what we're going to do with this. I love this. This is, is this dangerous? Okay, here we go. It's fine, it's fine. All right, so wait, breathe out. There we go. And you're going to get the whole thing. Breathe it in. There you go. Whole thing. And a little host track.
So you can see that definitely makes your voice lower versus higher. There's a show called Impractical Jokers, and there was a guy giving a speech, and in the microphone, he actually had two straws, one with helium and one with sulfur hexafluoride. And during his speech, they would have him inhale one or the other, and he would sit there and basically give a speech in these highs and lows in front of an audience that had no clue of what was going on. All right, let's make sure we've got everything done that we needed to do today. Come on, Nick. So I just reviewed naming molecular compounds. Now students should complete complete the review and practice for Friday's test. As you can see, the next 3 days are basically review days. In class, we would spend 2 days on this, but since class is shorter, I'm giving you guys 3 days to basically review all of these things. So keep that in mind. It's up to you to actually go through and work these. This right here, review is 7 pages. If you need to check your answers, the review answers are here. So let's take a quick look. 7 pages of naming these compounds. Like I said, we would spend 2 days in class doing this. You guys can, I mean, if you get good at it, you could knock this out pretty quickly. I suggest that if you think you're decent at it and you don't need to review ionic naming very much, I suggest you start with page 5 because this has mixed problems. It says maintenance and remediation. This has mixed problems. So basically you've got to sit there and figure out what's going on. Let's take a quick look at a few of those. So if we take a look, I'll do these type first over here because I think that they are harder to go from the compound to the name. So if we take a look, aluminum Al, is it a metal or not a metal? Well, if you don't know, then you got to go always to your periodic table and find it. Aluminum is right there. It is not shaded in, so that means it is a metal. Right? And if you didn't shade these in, go back and look at your periodic table activity and make sure you get your semi-metal shaded in. So, aluminum, is it in group 1A, 2A, silver, zinc, or aluminum? Well, it just happens to be aluminum. So it does not need a Roman numeral. What is OH? Well, we've got to look at the back of the periodic table. We would find OH to be none other than hydroxide. That would be aluminum hydroxide. Cesium. Cesium is in group 1A, so it does not need a Roman numeral. And it is a metal, cesium bromide. Fe. Fe is iron. It is a metal, but it's not in group 1A, 2A, silver, zinc, or aluminum. So I always like to put out that little line so I know I remember to put my Roman numeral down. If you don't know what CO3 is, then you've got to be willing to look on the back of the periodic table and find CO3 is none other than carbonate with a -2 charge. Since it has a -2 charge and there are 3 of them, that means it has a total of -6. So how does how does 2 aluminum cancel that out? Each aluminum has to have a charge of 3. Now let me show you why this can be so difficult. For example, it's Li2O. But keep in mind that this is a multiple choice test. So choice A may be dialuminum monoxide. Choice B may be lithium 2 oxide. Choice C may be lithium oxide. Choice D may be lithium 1 oxide. All of those are perfectly good names. The problem is that only one works because there's only one system that names this one correctly. Anybody confident to say enough which one it is? Putting everything out on the line virtually here. Is it dilithium monoxide? If it were, that means lithium would have to be not a metal. Well, the fact that lithium is in group 1A tells us it's an alkali metal. So dilithium monoxide can't work. Lithium 2 oxide. Well, the fact that lithium is in group 1A means that it should not have a Roman numeral. So that takes both of those out. Lithium oxide. Just keep that in mind that it's a multiple choice, but all of these answers are going to look fine because they all are actually legit naming rules. N2O5. You have to realize immediately that nitrogen is not a metal, so we need to use dinitrogen pentoxide. Pentoxide. We got to use the naming rules with the prefixes. So that's what I've got for today. Again, if you're doing fine on this and you feel good, I would start with 5 and 6 and 7 and then go check my answers. If I didn't do so hot, then I would make sure I went back to the front and started working through those. This week, for those of you that are all caught up in everything, it's going to be pretty awesome because it's 3 days of review. If you're good at this stuff, then you got plenty of time to work through these at your own leisure. If you don't have things memorized, maybe it's time that you do get some of the elements on the periodic table memorized so that you can find them faster. If you don't have polyatomic ions memorized very well, take a few minutes to go through some Quizlets or something like that and get those done as well. That's all I've got for the Zoom for today. I see some chats up here. Let me take a look real quick. Oh, 1, 2, okay. I guess that was the answer. Sorry, I didn't see it whenever it was up there. Any other questions? If you are behind, you've got some makeup work. Remember that everything that is not turned in by next Friday, by the 9 weeks, becomes a 0. Everything, like, there's no turning in stuff after that 9 weeks. I want to have all the grades finalized and be done with it. So keep that in mind. If you are not happy with your grade, only you can change it. I don't change grades. I just keep track of the points that you earned. So if you're good, have a great day. I'll see you guys. Tomorrow is Wednesday already. We're making it toward. Yeah, July.
Julia, but is that a note packet or is that the same one? Because I did not see that paper in my packet.
So if you were following along, I clicked on this right here. Give me 1 second. So that is the review. So that is right here. Students should complete the review. So that brings it up to here. Yep. It's an entirely new review sheet because we were done with the whole packet, right? We just completed that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Layla, you have any questions? Nope. All right. Bye.